Welcome to the continuing coverage of Election 2022 on Denton Community Television by students of Mayborn School of Journalism. I'm Leslie Mata. Our focus is the issues important to Gen Z's voters as they prepare to make their decision to support candidates in the Texas general election on November 8th. In the month of March, Governor Greg Abbott announced he wanted to investigate Texas trans family care. This news impacted widely to kids, friends, family, and according to Houston Chronicle, nearly 2,300 employees have left the Texas Department of Family and Protective Services since the beginning of the year, stressing an agency that has already experienced some of the highest turnout rates of any large state department. We're here with Christine Bray, who is the creator of Denton Transton Posting, and she is here to tell us about her influence on creating the account and about the Gen Z decision on governing race between Beto and Abbott. Christine, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Well, can you tell us a little bit more about why you created this Twitter account, Denton Transit Posting?
Yeah, for sure. So I got a scholarship from a university to do study abroad, and I went to Berlin. And in Berlin, they have an absolutely fantastic transportation system. I had been taking the DART at UT Dallas because I didn't have a car. And so I went from the train comes every 20 minutes during the good times to I stepped off of the airline. I got a train to my new apartment, and I missed my stop. And I say, oh, I'm going to have to wait 20 minutes for my train because that's the way it was back in Dallas. I waited 2 minutes, and then there was another one coming 3 minutes after that. And then there was another one coming like 3 minutes after that. And that's kind of where I realized like how important transit is for a place. I really, even when I had a car driving in Dallas, everybody jokes about how driving in Dallas sucks. And so that experience of being in a place where I didn't need to have a car and I was actually living better than now when I have a car in the States made me realize how important transit was. But of course I was still at Dallas, and Dallas is a huge city. I didn't feel that I could really do anything there. I moved up to Denton after leaving college, and I meet Deb Armenter on Twitter, and she gives me an hour of her time and just calls with me. I'm like, wow, this is a much smaller city. This is a place where like people can just have conversations and things happen as a result of that. And so eventually I was like inspired by the Go Zone fiasco that's going on with DCTA and them cutting the bus routes. And I was like, okay, well, I want to go, educate myself more on this, but also I like having a proof of work when I do things. I like being able to say, well, I educated myself on Go Zone and DCTA, and I can prove it because I educated other people who were following me on Twitter, and they were learning with me. And so I created the Twitter to kind of do that.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, because I can see here you joined in January 2022, and now on your Twitter account you have 1,242 followers. So you definitely gained a lot of followers. Do you think creating this account has helped a lot of people that follow you?
I think in terms of knowledge and awareness and the ability to feel that they can kind of like touch local politics and make a difference, it definitely has. Transit is and housing and the other issues that I cover are like big multi-year, like you would have to project out a decade to kind of see direct impact. But in terms of people having conversations and people getting involved in stuff, I would certainly say so.
Okay, yeah. Are you the only one taking over this account, or do you have someone else helping you?
Every single tweet on there is drafted by me, which is
Got it.
a little embarrassing because some of them are not good.
But you're very active for sure on Twitter. It's constantly updated, constantly retweeting what you believe is right, what you believe people should know. So I give props to you on that, because not that many people who create accounts can be constantly active with it, and you are. So you're keeping everyone who's following you updated on like what they should know, what they need to know, etc.
Yeah, one of my prouder moments with the account was I was speaking with someone on city staff, and they said, I follow you so that I can figure out what's going on with the other departments, because I know what's happening with my department at city staff, but I follow you so I can know about the other departments. And I was like,
oh, wow. That's great.
Yeah.
Okay, so going into politics, in your opinion, how the Abbott admission policies regarding transgender children receiving gender-affirming care from parents and other LGBTQ issues are motivating and influencing Gen Z's decisions on the governor's race between Beto and Abbott. Do you believe like what you're doing, or like what you think someone should start doing to motivate Gen Z's to vote for this governor race that's happening?
Yeah, I think it's definitely worthwhile to vote in that race. My friend Amber Briggle has been in the news a lot because of her experience with Child Protective Services coming after her kids, or her daughter, I believe, um, just because her kid is trans. Like that's the reason. CPS has been to her home multiple times. She's had to file a lot of paperwork, a lot of lawsuits to sort of fight that. And so there's definitely kind of a coordinated attack coming from our state government against trans and LGBT people, and also locally as well, right? It's in the school boards. Grapevine Colleyville has been just absolutely falling apart on this issue. And so I'm always of the opinion that the way to get people to vote, kind of at the state level, because a lot of people feel that their vote doesn't matter. They feel, what's it matter if I vote? And my feeling on that is like, it probably doesn't matter that much if you vote, but if there is a culture of voting, that matters. And I think the way that you have a culture of voting is you have people engaged locally, and then it's not like, well, am I going to go take the effort to vote when it's not going to do much? It's like, well, I'm doing all this other stuff. Why wouldn't I take 15 minutes, or depending on your voting location, some of them are better than others, but why wouldn't I go and really quick just vote? Like that's the least I could do. I'm doing all this other stuff as well. And so I really look at politics as kind of local first. And if you're engaged locally, then you're going to cast the ballot at the state level.
How would you talk to someone who, like, let's say doesn't really vote, but they can? How would you influence them to vote this governor race? Because obviously it is a big deal what Abbott's doing, and obviously we're not liking it, but how would you influence them?
I mean, we lived through the grid failure during Winter Storm Uri. I think that that's a big motivation point. I think that the sort of national and state issue of abortion rights are issues that people care about. People feel that the government doesn't matter, and the government is now inserting itself into these issues that are really hitting home for people in a bad way. And I think that that's motivational. Like, did you like it when your power failed? Did you like it when the governor tried to take away your right to have an abortion? Do you like it that the governor is trying to make your friends or your life illegal? And just kind of the issues that touch home for people are becoming the political ones, whereas the tax rate or like kind of more boring issues, it's hard to get people motivated over those. The government is now touching very close to people's lives in very direct and very measurable ways, and I think talking about that is important.
No, yeah, for sure. And with your platform, with your account, are you, like you said, are you speaking about it, like, like trying to influence through your Twitter account, or you're just going straight to the transit posting?
I dabble in broader issues. So, for example, when Beto had the rally here, I think beginning of this month, I went to that and I kind of reported on that. That's a thing that I do, is I go to government and associated events and just kind of do live reporting on those. But again, my philosophy is get people involved locally, and then if it's somebody that I am out there like tabling with, I've gotten them to expend the energy to come out and sit at a table and just talk to strangers with me. I can just be like, you vote yet? And then they're going to be like, oh yeah, I should do that, which is a much easier conversation than walking up to a stranger's door and being like, hello. Yeah. Have you considered voting in the state election?
You are so right, for sure. So what is your end goal with this account, or overall, like, what is your end goal that you want to see happen in this race or in your Twitter account?
I kind of have settled on a single number that kind of indicates the point of my activism, and that number is the combined average household expense for rent and housing and transportation. So I think in Denton City right now, it's around 45% for the lower quartile of income. So if you're in the bottom 25% of income earners, approximately 45% of your monthly income is spent just on having a place to live and the ability to get to work. And my end goal is bringing that number down as far as I can.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Well, is there anything you would like to share or inform our viewers about, anything that you want to tell us?
The voter registration deadline is, edit this in post to make me seem smart, I think October 8th. October 8th or October 11th. So that's coming up fast. Vote in your municipal elections and yell at your city councilors in their email inboxes. They do read those.
Thank you, Christine. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you so much. Gen Zs, don't forget to vote the Texas general election on November 8th. Greg Abbott and Beto O'Rourke. This is Leslie Mata reporting for Mayborn School of Journalism.